Greeting everyone to our Career Counseling webinar hosted by IHSB Alumni Association and our counseling department, Career Counseling Department. The webinar will be conducted as stated before by our alumni Nashra Zaman from New York University and Suraiya Jannat Jemima from Harvard University. I hope that you will have the opportunity to discuss the future university application plan with our alumni and learn valuable information from their personal experience. Firstly, there are some rules that should be followed during the webinar. You are asked to join the webinar with your real registered name. Otherwise, you will not have the opportunity to ask any questions. If you have any questions, you may address them in the chat box, which will be answered by your alumni and myself at the last part of the webinar. If you want to ask any question directly to the alumni, please click the raise your hand option. As you know, in Zoom there is raise hand option, and you will give him the chance later. Now, I give the mic to Suraiya Jannat Jemima from Harvard University to begin the webinar. Floor to Jemima.
Okay. So guys, before you get to ask your questions, there are some things I'll just go over quickly. I guess that will help you, ask better questions. So firstly, let's start with U.S. applications, since I'm assuming most of you want to apply abroad. I've discussed this before with you guys, but there are around 6 things basically that you need in a U.S. college application. And they are, you can note these down. Those are your test scores, which include SAT, SAT2, TOEFL, and IELTS. Then your school transcripts, which are your the result sheets from 9th to 12th. And the third would be extracurricular activities. Fourth would be your application essays, which are given to you by each university individually. And 5 is the letter of recommendations. You need 2 or 3 from your your school professors or anybody who you've worked under. And 6 are the interviews. Now, interviews, we don't need to worry about them because you'll only get them after you're shortlisted. We can speak about the rest 5 criteria that we have right now. And one exceptional thing for you guys this time is that I guess the test scores. You might not need SATs to apply to US universities, as I can see. I'm not sure if that's applicable to every university, but if that is so, then that gives you an opportunity to concentrate even more on the application essays. And so today we're going to speak about how you can, sort of focus on the remaining parts of the application and increase your chances of getting into the university. So firstly, I hope all of you have a common application account, because that's basically through which you apply to these universities. Not all of them, most of them. And if you want to know more about like how to apply to the universities that do not accept the common application supplement or the common application, what do you call it? You submit it through common application basically, but some universities ask it from coalition application, and some will just want you to directly send your essays and transcripts and everything to them. So you'll have to find that out by going to the universities that you want to apply, like to their website and to their admissions page. That's where you have all the information. And if you're confused, you can also send them an email. They'll have a contact us page, and you go there, you send them an email, and yes, they do reply. Even Harvard, they will reply within maybe 3-4 days or a week. And I'm sorry, you still haven't enabled the chat. Guys, give us a minute so that I can take your questions.
Yes, Jemima, any question?
Sir, please enable the chat so that I can, interact with the
Yes, I am turning on the chatting option. I will turn it on right now. Yes, we have listed the chatting option also. You can see now, everybody can write their opinion about their questions.
Yes. So I hope everybody can write their questions. And please, guys, do not hesitate. Nobody's going to judge you because you write a question over here. I'm just trying to help. Let's see. Should I go for foundation courses? Okay. So that depends. Sahil, thank you for your question. Foundation courses are not really required. I don't think they're useful because at Harvard also we had some foundation courses, but these are mostly covered by O and A levels. In U.S. universities, they have a different curriculum, so they don't cover a lot of things that we cover in math and science. So that's not necessary. But if you feel like you didn't do your best in in understanding the content in O and A levels, and you would want to repeat those concepts, make them stronger before you start your university college courses, then it's okay. It's up to you. Wasif Rahman has asked, what are the chances of one getting a scholarship? Okay, so there are lots of, thank you for your question. Uh, First of all, because that's an important thing. I was going to forget about that. There are some groups through which you can know which universities offer a good amount of financial aid. So there's this group called Bangladeshis Beyond Borders. I'll type the name down. Please find this group in Facebook. This is the name of the group, and there's a file section in this group all about like which universities give international students scholarship, what is the percentage of scholarship that you're likely to receive in each of these universities. There are some universities, mostly the Ivy League, the top 8, that give you like a need blind scholarship. So what need blind means is that if you get in, they will basically give you as much scholarship as you need. So, for instance, if you cannot pay like the 60 something thousand dollars, which is the usual tuition fee for these colleges, then they will pay the entire amount for you and you will have to pay nothing. But there are universities that are need based, for instance, Stanford, which look at like your ability to pay while they take the decision. That means if you cannot pay the entire amount and you tell them that, then that will kind of negatively affect your chances of getting in. So there's a file section. There's an entire list of universities that give you full ride scholarships. There's a list of universities giving most scholarships. So please check that out. So does Canada offer good foundation courses? I don't know that much about Canada, but they are likely to offer okay courses, I guess, because it depends on the universities. Like, for instance, like.
Jemima, can we say for something?
Yeah.
There is our another speaker. I mean, there is Nashra Zaman.
Yes.
First,
Can you please listen to her right now? Yeah.
First, let she finish. Then we can take the question answer session at the end. Is it okay?
All right. Yeah, absolutely.
Then now I am going to give the mic to Nashra Zaman.
Absolutely.
And I request Nashra Zaman to start to speak. Nashra Zaman, I am giving the floor. I am going to unmute your mic. Please check your screen. I mean, there will be option come. Unmute yourself.
Yes, sir. Hello.
Yes, Nashra, we can hear you. Thank you very much. Nashra,
Yes,
please
sir.
start.
All right. As I was saying, I just graduated this year, and I recently got into NYU, and I just wanted to help everyone out with university applications because I know how stressful this whole thing is. And throughout the whole applications, most of our friends and we felt like we were very helpless throughout the whole thing, and we had to figure out most of the things by ourselves, or we didn't really have a lot of help except for Abdullah sir. Abdullah sir was a lot of help to us. Thank you, sir, if there is listening to this. But other than that, we didn't really have a lot of sources. So I hope that Jemima Pu and I can help you with your questions. And Jemima Pu basically covered almost everything. Almost everything about the Common App, what's required. So if you guys want to ask us any questions, don't hesitate. Yeah.
Okay. Let me just intervene a little bit.
And I'll stress one thing though. Sorry?
No, exactly. So we should speak a little bit more about our experience before we move on to questions. I think that will help people. So, Nashra, why don't you elaborate? What do you think the strong points of your application were, and you know,
Yeah.
how you think you got to NYU, which is a great university, by the way. Congratulations.
Thank you. So obviously, I'm not a very good student. Like I was a very average student in school. I did really great in my O levels and my A levels. However, my transcripts in school was never really good, and I never knew that in university applications in the US, transcripts are more important than your A levels and O levels are. So that was a very big setback for me because I felt like my other aspects in my applications were really strong, but my transcript marks weren't very strong. So to make up for that, I had to basically do better in my other categories. But I still feel like if I was regular in school and if I basically was more serious in my exams and if I gave my full concentration and effort in the exams and had a good transcript, then for sure I would have probably gotten into a better university like Jemima, who did Harvard, which is a very big deal. If you guys don't know, Ivy League is like one of the top 8 universities in the whole world. So yeah,
I
your
would say
transcripts
there
matter a lot.
that normally does not lead to anybody getting into Ivy League, but we'll speak on more on that.
Yeah, I have no idea about Ivy Leagues because it was way out of my expectations, but
That's not true, by the way, but go on.
anyways, yeah, also one of the biggest things I would like to stress on was start working on your applications early. Don't leave it for the last moment because that was the biggest problems I had. Like I left everything like SATs and the whole application process for the very last moment in grade 12, which was a very big setback again. But yeah, I hope we can help you if you have any problems in your whole applications. Yeah.
Right. So something I'd add to what Nashra said, transcripts, they are really important. They are important across almost all US universities. And well, about transcripts, I would tell you that if even if you don't have the best grades, if there's kind of an improvement from your 9th to 12th, that's actually a very big plus point. They want to see progress. So even if you got like a B or something around that in your O levels, but then you got around A's in your A levels, that is a huge plus. Okay, so we have a question. When is the best time to start preparing our applications? As soon as you can.
Exactly.
Yeah, it's like as much time as you can put there, it's better. But at least 3 months. Don't wait for more than that. I certainly did it a little bit more late, but that was because of an issue, and I regretted it later. And I see that Nashra has the same 2 cents to give. You should start as soon as you can. What are AP classes? This is not actually applicable to your curriculum. AP classes are US classes that the students take in high school to get credits in university. So, for instance, they take first year university classes while they are at high school so that they can show that they are capable of taking higher level courses, but that's not applicable for you and that won't help you. Where are your ECAs? Nashra, would you like to go first?
Okay, I'll start and then Jeremy, you can follow. My ECAs from school were I was the editor-in-chief of Hope Central magazine, and then I was the founder and head of publications for Hope Aid, which was the school fundraising club. I was in the badminton team for 5 years, and I also got a recommendation from my coach, which I think is a good plus point for my applications. And then I won a couple of debate tournaments in school and a few writing competitions. And outside of school, I mostly I got a gold medal in Genius Olympiad, which was an international Olympiad, and also had an internship for 3 months at a petroleum company. And then I actually have to search out. I can't remember most of my ECAs.
It's okay. We don't have to go into the details, but those were probably your major ECAs?
Main ones,
right.
basically.
Right. MUNs do matter. We have another
Yeah.
question. I did MUNs. I did about 4 MUNs, and I had the best Get award in 3 of them.
Yes,
The
thank you,
thing over
Nashra
here
and
is
Jemima. Now, guys,
now we're
we'll
open.
your question. If anyone have any question, just there is option raise your hand. You can raise your hand option if you want to talk directly, and if you want to have any question, if you can write in chatting option also. Both is possible. Thank you very
Yeah,
much.
people already.
Anyone question? Any question, please?
Yes, they already have questions right over there, so we can see them. Yeah. Okay. So I was answering the last question about like whether MUNs matter. So the thing is, it's like quality over quantity. Okay. So the MUNs I did, I had awards in them, which is why they mattered. But there are lots of people that do a lot of MUNs. They don't end up mattering. So as long as you're proving your worth in each of these, for instance, debate or whatever you do, if you get like awards or recognitions, that will matter a lot. Another very important extracurricular activity that I think most people don't even consider an ECA is teaching. If you're tutoring students, if you taught anywhere, if you've been a teaching assistant, it's actually a very, very good ECA. So, there are 4 months still remaining. And so even if you want to add some kind of ECA to your application, that's a good one. Another good one would be a research paper, which I did in my gap year. That's a little bit more complicated. You'll actually have to understand, like you'll actually have to research about how to make a research paper and then have an actual topic to research on. But that's also a great addition to an application. All right, so the the question by Iqbal. I'll elaborate on it, and then Nashra, you can add whatever you want to. So the breakdown process, as I said, the first few criteria that I mentioned, I'll send the PDF of that file to Sir, and then he can send it to you guys. But most of this is a little bit complicated. So how this works is step one, absolute step one is you have a common application account, commonapp.org. You go there, and then you create an account. You add the universities that you want to apply to in your basket, and then you will get to see what each of these universities require. So while I tell you that these are, the umbrella terms for what you will need, like application essays and extracurricular activities and letter of recommendations, your common application account will reveal what exactly those things are. It will, for instance, show you exactly what essays you have to write. It will show you how many letter of recommendations you need and every other requirement that each of these universities has. So step one, create that account, and then you'll probably be guided by that account. Okay, about Harvard Medical School. Harvard Medical School is not an undergraduate school; it's a graduate school. You have to complete 4 years of either a subject related to medicine before you go there, or you need to take pre-med courses for 4 years before you go there. The U.S. medical studies are very different from our studies, which is more British. What was your research paper on? My research paper was on traffic congestion, and I wouldn't say a research paper is very complex, especially because you guys are high school students and I was a high school student while I was applying. You will be leniently judged on your research paper, so you can make mistakes and get away with it. But there's this website called researchgate.com. I'll write that down. Is it researchgate.org or com? Anyway, just search for it in Google, and then you can see a sample format of a research paper, and then you can read sample research papers. and then you just need to work on an idea, whatever you want to research on. Which grade were you in when you started applying? I took a gap year actually, so I applied after I got done with my A2. Why do essays matter? Essays matter the most actually. This is not something everybody will tell you, especially in the Ivy League, because if you judge an applicant based on grades only, for instance, let's start there. If you judge an applicant based on grades only, there are lots and lots and lots of applicants who have the same grades, who have excellent qualifications, who have a lot of great results. And then if you start judging with extracurricular activities, there are a lot more applicants now who are also brilliant in extracurricular activities. So essays help the university understand if the student, will fit in with the rest of the community, how intelligent or deep thinking the student is. I'll let Nashra take over for a while because the questions are moving really fast and Nashra's not speaking. So.
No, it's all right.
Okay, go ahead.
We were talking about when we're going to apply for, because I was replying to someone who was privately asking me a few questions.
We answered why do essays matter. So the next question is about the internship.
Well, I did my internship for 3 months, and it was obviously it was of like good help to my application, but it's also good for you because you learn a lot, especially if you're going to major in something you're trying to basically, if you're interning in something you're trying to major about. So for example, I did it in a petroleum company because I originally planned on majoring in chemical engineering. And I learned a lot there. Like that internship was a learning internship, so I learned a lot of things from there. But I decided that I wasn't exactly interested in chemical engineering just because of that internship. So I think it'll be like a good insight for you as well, these internships, and they're extremely helpful for your applications, and they're also helpful for you yourself. And someone asked me what I am majoring in. I'm majoring in computer engineering right now in like.
I'll add some more to the internship. I had an internship as well. It was a public law internship under a barrister in the Dhaka Supreme Court. Internships are super helpful. I wouldn't say important, but they will add a lot of weight to your application. They are not necessary like any other extracurricular activity. You do it before getting into university. Well, the ones that you do after getting into the university are different from the ones that you do before getting in. You don't really get undergraduate internships while you're in high school. And the highly recommended subject. Well, I'm not sure if you have enough time to change your subject, but I would say that it doesn't matter, but it sort of does. If you do have a science-ish background, not completely science, but you have, like, for instance, physics, or you have chemistry, at least, and definitely math. You definitely need math. These would help you get into an Ivy League because they want you to know as much as you could. I had taken further math in A-levels, so I think that sort of helped me too because the math over there is quite rigorous, and I think that helped. When did you give SAT? I sat for SATs in my gap year. I took exactly 3 months, 2.5 or 3 months, but I studied enough. Not sure if you would like to answer that question.
I gave my SATs in grade 12, and I also took around I think I took 2 months to prepare. 2 months is enough. 2 or 3 months is actually enough for the SATs because for us, the math section is really easy, but what you should really focus on is the English section because that is where we all struggle really a lot. Like, even though if you're really good at English, that's the part where most people usually have problems with. That's where at least I struggled a lot with. Math was relatively very easy for me.
Someone has privately asked me if taking transcripts is possible. I think it's important to address that question, so I'm not gonna say your name. It is possible, and it might get you permanently, like banned from the United States and whichever university you're applying to, because if they find out that you faked the transcript and they will try to find it out, you will not only be banned from applying to one university in the US, possibly be banned from all universities in the US, as well as some universities outside of US. So whether you want to do that is up to you, you know. Can you explain about SATs? Okay, I think your SAT requirements, you don't have requirements this year. I'm not sure if they can comment whether it has
Yeah,
been
a lot
updated.
of universities, like mostly the top universities, are all they all already
Requiring
announced
SAT.
that this year.
If you
I can
are,
still give it. I think it would be a good.
it could enhance your application, that's true, but I don't know, I wouldn't say it would help that much because Bangladeshis on SATs aren't as spectacular as like native speakers or, so only sit for it if you think it's gonna help and your English is very good and your comprehension skills are very good. But otherwise you don't need it. What percentage of importance do extracurriculars hold in your depends. U.S. universities, um, I wouldn't assign a percentage. I would say that if your grades aren't that good, for instance, for the Ivy League, but your extracurriculars are very good, then they will make up for your not so good test scores. And yeah, and similarly, even if they are not as good, they can add some weight to your application. Do we need to have English after O levels? No, you don't. I did not. Is there anything that defines like a good or convincing essay? Something that makes your essay a little bit exceptional is always good. If it's always like most essays are just talking about their achievements and like I learned this thing since I was little, or this little incident taught me a lot, and I'm a godly person now. So maybe not make your essay sound like that because I've seen a lot of those essays. Um, because people ask me to edit and whatever. And then it's really sad because you should not boast about yourself in your essay. Don't do that.
If I could just add to that about the essay, what the application, like the people who are looking at your applications and reading your essays, they really want to see what you are as a person, because your extracurriculars and everything, they're already in your applications. So try to write about something that you're passionate about or something that you like doing, and don't try to make it very common. Try to make your essay something that will catch their attention, because if you write about a very common topic, there are chances that probably 1,000 other applicants have already written about that as well, so they're going to get bored by your essay. So try to be a little out of the box when you're writing your essay, or at least your common app essay, which is
Right.
like
In the file section of the Bangladeshis Beyond Borders group, there's also some sample essays that you guys can look at. I think that will help you.
Bangladeshis Beyond Border is an amazing page, group for people who are applying
Right.
and everything. Everyone should definitely check that out.
Right. But somebody has asked, rather than doing A levels, is doing an IB better. IB curriculum is actually valued more. It's true. But IB is also very difficult to get used to. You have to write extended essays, so that's a skill on itself. If you can manage, definitely, it, it adds weight to your application. As you're doing, that's for you, Nashra. Can you please answer?
As you're doing computer engineering, I didn't really have to submit anything that related to computer engineering. I just gave what every other applicants have to give. I have no experience when it comes to computers or coding or anything. I just showed them an interest in my essay that I interested in computers and everything. So I guess they liked that. I'm not sure. I didn't submit anything additional for my major.
All right. Somebody has asked, is GED a good substitute for A-levels? No way in hell. Don't do GED. Stay away from it. Some suggestions for SAT preparation. I suggest starting with the Princeton Reviews SAT book. It's an excellent guide for SAT. I suggested that time and again. And use the practice tests from College Board, the ones that are on the College Board's website and also in the College Board book. I think you have around 8 practice tests and then around 4 practice tests in the Princeton Review. That should be more than enough. If you have any lacking in vocabulary, or you think there are certain vocabulary words in the reading part of the SAT that you can find difficult, then there's a book by Erica L. Meltzer. I'll type that down because so the book that I just typed down has a short list of vocabularies, but very useful vocabularies. You can follow that.
And also Khan Academy. Khan Academy is a good place for practicing.
Right. For instance, Nashra found Khan Academy helpful. I personally do not like taking tests online, but anybody who's more comfortable with online exams, Khan Academy is completely free. They also have tips on SATs, which are great resources. If you want to add something to that, Nashra, please go ahead.
Khan Academy is good for preparing. Maybe the practice tests are a bit of a hoax, I want to say, because like the time and everything, it just doesn't match up. But for your for practicing, it has really good content. Like if you want to individually practice writing, the writing sections in individual topics in maths, then you can definitely check Khan Academy. They're going to have like different categories for everything. Yeah.
Okay, so someone has asked me, Sadly, what subjects did you have in A-levels? I had math, further math, chemistry, physics, and accounting. And another one is getting a good grade in our SAT or A-level more important, or like which holds more weight? Both hold weight in separate departments. So SAT is basically what the university uses to test your English more than anything else, and that is something you're not tested on in your A-levels. So consider that like your 6 subjects, in A-levels. Your A-levels matter a lot, but the SATs matter too. How important are universities? Okay, I'm gonna skip that. How did you feel after you found out you got selected in Harvard? Guys, that's okay. I don't even know if I'm supposed to answer that. I was happy, but again, it's just getting into a university. It's not like I got, like the Nobel Prize or I hit some mark. It's like a path to go somewhere bigger, but it's not the goal itself. It's the path to the goal. Okay. Is GED a good substitute? No, it is not. Stay away from that. Okay. The next question is for Nashra, please. Go ahead and answer.
Why did you choose computer engineering? I'm not entirely sure. I was always good at maths, and I wanted to do engineering, but I wasn't sure in which department, and I like maths and computers fascinate me, so I just decided to go for computer engineering. I did a little bit of research, and I found the whole major interesting, and so I just decided to do computer engineering. I didn't really have a very big decision or anything.
I accidentally did not write the name of the book in the main chat, so I'm just gonna do that. Critical reader. Okay. Somebody asked about foundation courses. That really depends on which university you're applying to, especially if it's in Canada. You'd want to check their website. Maybe send them an email asking the same question. Usually universities have a contact us page. They have an email address, and if you ask them questions, they are, like they're pretty good at answering them. You'll get an answer within a week. So I suggest you do that. Okay, so Is there anything important that helps? Is there any institute that helps for SAT? I did not go to an institute personally, Nashra.
Me neither. And honestly,
Yeah.
I've heard people who've gone to institutes and it hasn't really helped them in any way. I think for SATs, you should just try preparing yourself. Unless you have like a very big problem with something, then you can try. But I personally think that an institute for SATs is not a good idea.
Yeah,
Try
me
to
neither.
self-practice the
Right.
whole thing.
Self-study, get some books for SATs, maybe ask some questions from the Bangladeshi Beyond group about like if you have questions. I think with that we can sort of round this up. We can have around 5 more minutes because Azad sir is telling me to end it soon. So any more burning questions before we can end this? Do you have US citizenship? I don't think that's applicable, to whatever we're speaking about. I'm not answering what were your SAT grades. Okay, so I actually did not sit for SAT 2, which is a fun fact. So you can email universities about like whether you um, actually need SAT 2. There's actually a way in which you can not sit for SAT 2s and still apply to the Ivy League. So all right. So, guys, thanks so much for joining us. If you have some more questions, you can.
Email.
I always say this, but I'm not really very good at this. But you can contact me on Messenger. It's the same as my name, Suraiya Jannat Jemima. If you have some questions, I'll try my best to answer. I can't promise, but I'll try my best. Nashra, if you'd like to say something before we end.
Yeah, if you have any questions, I can leave my email here. You can all email me your questions, or also you can text me on Messenger. I'll be there as well. But yeah, we hope we were of any help to you guys.
That's it, guys.
Sorry?
Okay, best of luck to everyone.
Okay.
Okay, thank you very much, everyone. So, Nashra, do you have any last thing to say?
Just good luck, and if you need help, don't hesitate to ask people for help. Try to do your best for these applications because they're a stressful process, but you'll get through it. Yeah. And remember, if you don't get into a really good university, it's not the end of the world. Life goes on. Yeah, that's all.
Jemima, do you want to say last thing? Anything more?
I'll just say that there's don't stress over university applications. They're just, a way to get to your goal. So accept whatever, university you get into and then perform your best. Yeah, and best of luck.
Okay, then. Thank you very much, everyone. So, as they mentioned, if you have any other question regarding university application process, you can contact with Abdullah sir, me as the alumni coordinator. Always I will be there to help you out. I can forward the question to you. I can forward their email to you also. So this is end of the session. Thank you everyone. Thank you very much, Nashra and Jemima, for your valuable time and sharing your experience with us. Also, I thank my fellow students for attending the webinar. Please take care, everyone. Bye-bye. Assalamu alaikum.